How do you start your morning? Russell Williams liked to start his mornings just like you and me. He put his pants on, one leg at a time. And he looked pretty sharp in that neatly pressed military commander's uniform. But underneath that uniform, he looked like this. When you're responsible for flying around the Queen of England, you gotta dress the part. Back to the great white north we go, my home country. Oh, Canada. How the fuck did we promote this guy to the upper ranks of our military? David Russell Williams, a.k.a. the Belleville Bellend, the teeny breeder from Tweed, the Kinky Colonel, or whatever alias you prefer, this guy definitely has the most interesting resume of anyone we've ever covered on this channel. Apparently, he wanted to become a pilot after watching Top Gun. Wait, that can't be right. He must have mixed up Top Gun with Con Air. He had a Clark Kent Superman dichotomy going on, but instead of kryptonite, his only weakness was men's underwear. This guy was responsible for more teenage panty raids than the Tri-Lambs from Revenge of the Nerds.
Hey man, this is gonna be a great year!
So how the fuck did a guy who was handpicked by the military to command the country's largest Air Force base, responsible for flying around the Prime Minister, the Governor General, and the Queen of fucking England, wind up becoming a multiple murderer? Just think about that for a minute. Just imagine doing something so horrendous while fully understanding that if you get caught, you're going to be the embarrassment of an entire nation. The poster boy for disgrace. Like, here's a guy who spent years climbing the ladder, eventually finding himself in one of the most respected positions in the entire country. This guy wasn't some toothless junkie like Henry Lee Lucas or something. Prison was like a second home to that animal. No, Williams had a lot to lose. Have you ever met like a serious comic book collector? Or like one of those nerds who has like a full room of action figures still in the packaging? You know, you can look, but never touch.
Leave it in the box!
Russ wasn't on board with that shit. Why the fuck would you steal thousands of pairs of panties just to look at them? And I mean, you certainly couldn't just like trade them with like other collectors. I don't think anyway. I hope not. Anyways, nah. Russ was all about wear and tear. He took Casual Friday to a whole other level.
Okay, first of all, they're extremely comfortable.
He liked to wear his collectibles under his Air Force-issued uniform. But that military, boy, they're just too damn close-minded. He had to wait until he was off base to engage in his other favorite hobby, photography.
Show me to the models, baby. Okay, you're an animal. Yes, there we go. You're a tiger. You're Tony the tiger. You're great. Very good and unspent.
You know who this reminds me of? Dennis Rader.
Okay.
BTK. He was obsessed with photographing himself in women's clothing too. Remember these? The only difference is that our boy Russ here wasn't, strangling himself with the underwear or hanging himself from trees. All right, let's play a quick game. In this photo, Dennis is modeling a beautiful silk nightgown with matching bra and what looks like a sheer black blouse over top. Unfortunately, it's hard to make out with his hands tied behind his back like that. But notice that he looks very feminine and submissive in this one. Now compare that to this photo of Russ. Notice the masculine energy he exudes. Look at the eyes, the posture, arms to the side, shoulders out. This is definitely a guy I would go to war with. Imagine you're dug into the trenches in World War I. It's time to go over the top and attack German lines. Your hands are shaking, you're scared. You need a leader. Now imagine Colonel Russ fucking Williams of the Canadian Armed Forces emerging through the shell smoke wearing this ensemble. Cigar in mouth, he picks up his pink rifle and charges over the top. If this isn't a leader, I don't know who is. Dennis was definitely more avant-garde with his approach to fashion. Notice the unconventional way of styling the pantyhose tied around and over the face. Notice the rabbit fur and bound legs. You could almost picture him hopping around like a defenseless bunny. Again, very submissive. Here's some shots from the back. Russ was known for this over the shoulder. It was like his answer to Zoolander's blue steel.
It's impressive.
If he wasn't a murdering rapist, there's no doubt you'd be seeing him on a fashion runway near you.
He is a fashion icon.
You know, just for a minute here while we're on the topic, after flipping through these again, you do gotta kind of take a second to appreciate Dennis Rader's commitment to the shot. Russ was snapping his pics with like a smartphone. He probably just had it on burst. And then he'd just cycle through and pick out a couple of his favorites. Dennis is snapping his shots in the 1970s with a fucking Polaroid camera. At least, I mean, I got to assume it had to be Polaroid, right? I mean, they're not exactly the type of roll you want to drop off at a 1-hour Photoshop.
Here's a little roll that I think you may enjoy.
And on top of that, the elaborate setups Dennis would do? Picture it for a second. He's gonna set up his camera on a tripod, roll himself up in saran wrap, fling himself into a pre-dug shallow grave. Then he gotta shovel dirt onto himself, and then somehow, long rope, remote, snap his Polaroid. Then he's gotta dig himself out of the hole, crawl over, take the Polaroid, shake it out, probably only to be like, fuck, it's out of focus. God damn it, back to one. That is dedication to your craft. Anyway, sorry about that. Where was I? Right, Russ wears women's underwear. Okay, look, man, I get it. You like the way women's underwear feels against your skin. I'm not gonna judge a guy for that. I mean, what you choose to do in the privacy of his own home, it's nobody's business. But why do you gotta go sneaking around, breaking into people's homes, rummaging through women's drawers and shit? I mean, I guess he couldn't just swing by the mall on his way home from work in his combat fatigues and hit up the Victoria's Secret. Could you imagine that? Oh, this is nice. But why not just take a tip from Rader and raid your wife's underwear drawer or something? Make good money. Just go online, order some used panties from an OnlyFans model. Take a furlough in Japan and hit up one of those panty machines they're always talking about. Also, he's a pretty big, well-built dude. Do they even make lingerie for 6'2" military-sized males? Maybe that's why he had to raid a total of 82 homes. He flat out had to find stuff that fit. Don't you just hate it when you break into someone's home, hide in their closet for 3 to 4 hours, only to steal their panties and find out that they're 3 sizes too small? That is the fucking worst. All of that to say that this obviously wasn't just like your everyday kink. This wasn't about just wearing women's underwear. There was definitely some other, deeper, more disturbing motivations at play, and something tells me that this guy didn't give 2 shits about safe words. From 2007 to November 2009, he meticulously documented his crimes. Hard drives and USB sticks filled with thousands of images of him dressed in stolen underwear. Wait, there's another word for that. Oh yeah, evidence. Fuck, I mean, you'd think a guy who was in the highest ranks of the military would have a good understanding on how to handle top secret files. Too bad Russ wasn't in charge of Area 51. If aliens are out there, we'd have pics of him modeling extraterrestrial undergarments. His panty collection became so huge that the rafters in his attic couldn't handle it. He had to start burying the excess in the fields throughout Ottawa. You know it's just a matter of time before some poor housing developers wind up unearthing one of his stashes. But as is always the case, these paraphilias morph into something more sinister, resulting in the deaths of 2 innocent women. And there would have been a lot more murders if it wasn't for this fucking hoser who spotted a Nissan Pathfinder parked in a dark field next to the home of Russ's second victim on the night of the murder and reported it to police.
Like, I'm a wildlife buff, so I'm always looking for anyone I'm driving, I'm looking at.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm also Canadian. I don't sound like that, do I?
I was just looking to see if there's anything out poking around, eh?
I really hope not. Okay, anyway, after gathering shoe print and tire impressions, the OPP set up a checkpoint and began checking the tires of passing vehicles. That same night, a Nissan Pathfinder approached the checkpoint. Its tires matched the impressions. The driver was Colonel Russel Williams. Shortly after, Russ was brought in for what he thought were a few routine questions. Did you hear about the murder? Did you see anything unusual? What's your cup size? You know, standard shit. The last thing he expected was to be greeted by Canadian criminal profiler and legendary forensic interrogator Jim Smyth.
Detective Sergeant Jim Smyth is a veteran in the OPP's Behavioral Sciences Unit. There are few better at interrogation, as Colonel Williams was about to find out.
After the most Canadian interrogation in history, filled with more apologies and the use of the word bud than you can count.
I put my best foot forward here for you, bud.
It was like he was being interrogated by that guy from Letterkenny.
Fuck, they don't even have all-dressed chips in that shithole.
After apologizing 6 or 7 more times, Russ agreed to lead police to the body of the missing woman.
Get him out.
And with that, the shame of a nation was born. On October 21st, 2010, Russell Williams received 2 life sentences for first-degree murder, plus an additional 122 years for all the other fucked up shit he did. Finally, he's surrounded by a group of people who can appreciate his passion for modeling women's underwear. So, what do you think? Now that he's behind bars, should the Kinky Commando change his name to G.I. Jane? Let me know in the comments below. And, of course, don't forget to unalive that subscribe button and click that notification bell because we got new content dropping all the time. And if you just can't get enough, you can also head over and follow on Instagram and TikTok for even more killer content.